Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we got a special episode of Boro Tailgate Talks, and I've been looking forward to this. I really
Me
have.
too. Me too.
Yeah. We got the current quarterback coach for the Toronto Argonauts. I hope I did say that right.
You
Okay.
got it right.
All right. We got Mike Miller with us today. He has been friends with my dad for since what, college?
Yeah, 30 years, 34 years.
Yeah, and we're happy to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I was looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, so we got some. So you graduated from Clarion, your Golden Eagle, of course.
That's right.
And so you first got your feet. And if there's anything I got wrong, obviously correct me.
Sure.
So you first got into coaching with Robert Morris back in '97 as the graduate assistant and a running back coach.
That's exactly right, under Joe Walton. And my real mentor was Dan Radakovich, and he referred to himself as Bad Rad. Yeah, and he is the man, believe me.
Yeah, and we'll go through the team history first, and then we'll go back to whatever, because there is a question about when you first got your feet into the door with Robert Morris and then the other teams. So then after Robert Morris, you became a offensive quality coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers, 1999, and obviously probably being a Pittsburgh guy when you became that for the Steelers. I bet that was pretty cool since PA guy and everything.
Yeah, no, it was huge. It's all God, believe me. I was an intern after college with the Pittsburgh Penguins in '93 in the front office, and then '93-'94 season, and then the '94 and '95 seasons I interned with the Steelers in the front office, media, PR, did some operations. And then I went to the Indianapolis Colts doing the same thing in '96. And then I got into coaching in '97. But having had that opportunity as an intern, especially with the Steelers, I mean, growing up in the '70s, those guys were larger than life. So to still have that opportunity to be in the building and know Mr. Rooney and those greats would still come through. And that's when Coach Cowher was there. That really paved the way, as I've told. I think I probably mentioned this to you too before, Mike. And when they say someone's always watching, it's true. I mean, so you always got to remember, you got to be yourself. You got to make sure you're working hard and you treat people right. Because had I been a clown as an intern, when I left after the '95 season, 3 years later, Coach Cowher, 4 years later, hired me as the quality control coach, and I have no playing experience in college. So for him to take that chance on me, the foundation of that was first laid down when I was an intern. So I was able to prove, or all you're really looking to do as an intern is show people that you can work hard and that you can get along with people. And then hopefully God will bless you with opportunity past that. So but to ultimately answer that question is, yeah, it was a huge blessing, beyond thrilled and grateful to go back and think, wow, I'm actually on the Steelers coaching staff with Bill Cowher and the rest of the greats, Dick Hoke and Mike Mularkey and Kevin Gilbride, and just so blessed. And it was a big deal. It was a big move in my life. So I was very, very thankful.
Yeah, the thing is too, the first question was that I was gonna ask with when we got to the questions was, what was it like to get the call from a Hall of Fame coach from Bill Cowher? But that was, that is great. And so then after the Steelers, you became the tight end and quality control coach for the Buffalo Bills in 2004.
Yep.
And then again 2005 tight end coach. And then now, forgive me, the Berlin Thunder, what league is that?
So that was in NFL Europe.
Oh, okay.
So there was a situation where they would allocate a certain amount of players, And then we also had some international players. And it was a great environment for a young coach like me. That was my first coordinating opportunity. I coordinated the pass game and coached the quarterbacks and receivers. And really, you could go over there and learn from that level and that kind of responsibility of running the room, installing the offense, the plays, running that stuff at practice, making all the corrections and adjustments, and getting that game experience with relatively no pressure. I mean, you still had to win, but it was a developmental league, not only for players, but it was also for coaches. So that was really a great opportunity for me.
Yeah, and then you went back to Robert Morris in 2006 as the defensive line coach, and
Yep.
then of course way back.
Well,
from
let me say this real quick. So I did that when I got back. I got called from Robert Morris. So I actually was in 3 training camps in 1 calendar year.
Wow.
So with 3 different teams. So I really wasn't sure if I wanted to do it, but I'm so glad I did because I went on defense for the first time. Again, working with Bad Rad. My good buddy Scott Benzel is now the head coach at Westminster. And that to this day was the single most fun I've ever had in coaching that season. We were number 1 in the country in overall defense on all divisions. We had, I think we had 2 all. I know we have a ton of all conference. I want to say our linebacker was all America, but it was great. We had great players, but great coaches, and just a chance to learn from that side of the ball was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Now, next team is from when I was a child, far back as I remember. 2007, the wide receiver coach for the Arizona Cardinals, and so that was the year Larry got drafted.
No, so Larry was drafted in 2004.
Okay, yep.
Yep.
So we'll get to Larry in a little bit. So then, of course, wide receiver coach in 2007, and then the offensive coordinator in 2011.
Yeah, I did receivers coach 2007, 2008.
Mm-hmm.
In 2008 when we went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Steelers.
Yeah.
But we coached, I had 3 1,000-yard receivers on one team in the same season. That was only done 5 times in the history of football. And we had a lot going. I mean, I had great players to coach. We had Kurt Warner playing at a Hall of Fame level. But the thing about that really made that experience special was those guys, as great as they are, I believe 2 of them are Hall of Famers, and Larry and Anquan, and obviously Kurt's already a Hall of Famer, but they were all even better people and just so much fun to work with. And they always wanted to get better, teach you, see if they could improve each and every day out on the practice field. And yeah, that was a really special experience.
Yeah, you guys definitely had some serious talent on that team looking now. Edgerrin James, I want to say, was probably a little bit older by that point.
Yeah, he was at the end, but when we got to the playoffs, that's a good point, Alex. He turned it on. He was again, these are all really special people. They're great people.
No doubt.
Yeah. Now just a curiosity question. But for the 2008 for the Super Bowl, at any point did you get to like shake hands with like Roethlisberger towards the end, or?
So I do not know Ben. I left after the 2003 season. He came in 2004. I remember I could tell he was confused on the field in pregame at the Super Bowl because a lot of the Steelers I still knew. And I really was close with a lot of them. And so they were coming across the 50 to hug me. And he was warming up, and they could tell he kept looking like, who is this guy that all of my teammates are coming over? I mean, it was a really special moment because to think God ever blessed me with the opportunity to be on that stage. Again, we spoke earlier, growing up in the 70s, I thought all the Steelers did was win. I didn't know you could grow up to be a Steeler. I thought they were gods that came down. Like, honestly, when you're a kid and you make your own conclusions and you don't ask adults, I thought the reason why all the other teams existed was so that they could go around the country and all the other Steeler fans around the country could watch the Steelers play.
Yeah.
I honestly, God, I'll never forget it. And so to think here I am on the field at the Super Bowl, it's just, and it was too bad. Unfortunate we lost. Ben made a great drive at the end of the game, but I was just telling my buddy Mark Speckman that's here, we had over 500 yards of offense that day. And, it's just unfortunate, but it was such a moment. It was really, really special. So yeah, Mikey, that's a good question to get a chance to see. I didn't shake Ben's hand, but I shook hands and hugged a lot of guys over there before the game. So it was a special moment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So then in 2013, you were the assistant head coach, offensive coordinator, and the quarterback coach for the Montreal Alouettes.
Yeah, well, in 2009, 2010, I was promoted to the pass game coordinator at the Cardinals. Mm-hmm. And then in 11 and 12, I was the offensive coordinator. And then after 2012, we started out 4-0. We lost a bunch of guys to injury. We wound up losing 9 in a row. And then ultimately we got fired. It's just the way it goes sometimes. We just didn't have the horses, but, I was thankful for my experience there. Then I went to Montreal, and my friend that's coaching here at Clarion, Mark Speckman, that's where I first met Mark. And this is a great business in that way that I'll say this. I know a lot of people won't say this, but there are a lot of bad guys in this business. There really are. It's probably the same in any business. It's very cutthroat. You got a lot of phony guys, a lot of guys that are front runners, egos. And when you get a chance to meet special people in your life, such as Mark, Russ Grimm, Matt Rach, you go down even how I'm now working with the Toronto Argonauts. Our head coach, Ryan Dinwiddie, was our quality control coach in Montreal in 2013. Okay. And I left after that season. He always said, hey, I'm going to try to hire you if I ever get a chance. And so there you go. 10 years later, he hires me. So there are a lot of good people in this business too. And because you put everything on the line. You put your whole livelihoods are on the line together. And so you can get real close with people real fast in that type of environment. And if you're fortunate and blessed to come across quality people, then you really wind up having friends for life. So it's a great thing about the business.
Mm-hmm. And then after the Alouettes, you went to Alex and I's school, Edinburgh University.
Now, Edinburgh, Fighting Scots, 2014.
Yep. Fighting Scots. You were the offensive coordinator, quarterback, and wide receiver coach. Now, quick, and we got a question about Edinburgh a little bit later, but we got to ask, since your alma mater is Clarion, and we are from Boro, what do you think about the Penn West name change?
Oh,
well, I'll tell you what, you guys might be shocked. I actually like it. I think I don't tell you why. I get why you guys might not like it. I understand that. Mm. But if you had a chance to step away and really look at it, this was a really difficult situation for everyone involved. I mean, I think it's really, there were some real concerns about some of these schools having to close their doors.
Yeah, there definitely was, for sure.
I mean, with all of the facilities that are in place on these campuses, all the people that have jobs, and for the life of the town that these schools are in, I mean, it's a real emergency. And we all know that there was corruption at the state level, that when they signed that bond to build all these individual suite living dormitories, that the population in Western PA was already going down through the years. People have to leave for work. And so, and the people that were going to school, the enrollments were going down. So at no time should they have ever built those dormitories. But as corrupt government goes, they did it, and now it really puts some schools behind the 8 ball. So I think in pooling their efforts and being able to really give you, who else is Cal? Is Cal also involved in the in the grouping, right?
Yep.
So again, it's not traditional from that standpoint, but in a way, it really helps these programs stay alive in this market to say, hey, if you come to, let's say a kid comes to Clarion, but I know nursing is big time at Edinboro.
Huge, yeah.
You can still take the Edinboro nursing classes, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that's how it was going.
Yeah,
And
it
you
is.
could still play your sport here at Clarion or what have you. So I think giving those kids the option, helping make these schools competitive and a little more cost efficient, is about keeping the doors open and keeping those opportunities alive for generations to come. So hopefully it'll be a good thing. But I think the Penn West at Clarion, Penn West at Edinboro, and Penn West at Cal is I think ultimately a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason why most people just don't, I think it's just a name thing, honestly, why people don't like
Definitely.
it. Honestly, I think that's really what it is. They just, I mean, I was like that too until like actually like after what you just said, because it really does make sense. But yeah, I think it's just a name problem.
Yeah, it's going to take some getting used to. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's kind of like also if like a team relocates, like you may not like the name right away, but like you're gonna have it's
That's
not
right.
it's not going anywhere. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
I mean, you guys are still Boro.
Yeah, our class is the last to actually, I believe our class is the last one to have just Edinboro on our degrees when we graduate from school.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, because we enrolled and then like midway through our first year, they did the merge. So we're
Okay.
technically still just going to be Edinboro University on our degrees, but like
Nice.
this current enrolled class will be Penn West and all going forward from there. So
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So then you went back to Robert Morris in 2016 to 17 as the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach.
Yep.
And then Westminster in 2018 as the defensive coordinator and the defensive line coach. And then 2019 as the offensive consultant and the assistant O-line coach. Is that correct?
Yeah. So what happened was after I left Edinboro after 2014, and I accepted a position with a developmental league as the offensive coordinator that ultimately, due to funding, did not get off the ground. And then that summer, I was in a head-on collision. Mike, you remember you guys stopped down to see me when I was recovering.
Mhm.
So I kind of lost. It's all God why I'm here. But I lost that whole season. And then I was hired at Robert Morris, did not get a recruiting year. And then our only recruiting year was 2017. And we beat Dayton for the first time in 20 years. But then I had a lot of injuries in the first, I think, week 4, and we wound up finishing, I think, 3-8. Our head coach resigned, and then we all were let go. So went to Westminster. Again, my friend is the head coach there. They had some movement. So I went on defense. And again, just learned a lot again, got back on that side of the ball. We had a great season. And then in 2019, Kevin Gilbride contacted me about being the receivers coach for the XFL. I said, yeah, I would take it. But then I told Westminster I didn't want to leave him hanging. So I went to a part-time role there. And I think I missed 2 games because we were doing off-season stuff, ramping up for our 2020 season for the XFL. So that's why it reads that way in my bio. But then our season for the XFL was in 2020. And after 5 games, COVID hit the country and they canceled the rest of the season.
Yep. Another curiosity question with the XFL. When Dwayne Johnson bought it from Vince McMahon, was there any conversation? Did you have any conversations with anybody from there to go back to the XFL, or what?
I had some initial conversations with guys that I know that are in the front office, but nothing really went beyond that. I had some guys reaching out to me that were going to be getting hired by guys that they knew, but I never heard anything past that. It was a little disappointing, but I mean, again, that's this business. You just got to keep moving forward and, just be ready for the next thing that comes your way.
Yep. And then, of course, the team you were on this year and currently on, Toronto Argonauts, as the quarterback coach. So that's that from the bio, and we'll get into the Argonauts in a little bit. But Alex,
you mean the 2022 Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts?
We'll get there. Yep.
All right, I just was clarifying.
We'll get there, absolutely. So Alex, you got your first question you wanna ask him?
Yeah, I do. So obviously being from Pittsburgh myself, kind of a big thing to me. I know it is to Mikey as well. What was it like to coach a guy like Larry Fitzgerald on your football team when you're with the Cardinals? And are there any any funny locker room stories or like any random little things you could tell us or anything like that?
Yeah. So where was I? So I was at the Steelers when he was at Pitt, and then his senior year. No, his senior year was in 2003, I believe, or his last year he played.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I left to go to Buffalo, and I was coaching the tight ends. I saw that he got drafted. We played him his rookie year. They played at Buffalo, and I want to say it's something like October, and it was one of those just abysmal Buffalo, cold, rainy, windy. The wind was crazy. So here's an interesting thing. So in Buffalo, the tunnel that the players come out of, when the wind is really bad and the team is kicking with their backs to that tunnel, all right, they open up these doors to let that wind come across the field, and it goes out the tunnel. And that really affected Arizona that day. They actually saw a punt go and come back.
Oh my God.
It went up in the air and he shanked it, but it blew it back. I mean, they were like these gale force winds.
Yeah.
And whenever we were punting in that direction or kicking a field goal, they made sure those doors were closed.
That's clever. That's
true.
clever right there.
Yeah. So keep an eye out for that in the playoffs. Alex, to say, I went there and I was promoted to the receivers coach job within a month. They had to let our receivers coach go, and they promoted me. And I knew the responsibility that I had with Larry and Anquan Bolden. And then we drafted Steve in the fifth round of that draft. And Steve's from Woodland Hills, so another Pittsburgh guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, when we drafted him, I had a chance to talk to him, and I had to call him after the big wheels talked to him. And I said, "Hey, Steve, I hate to tell you this. I'm always going to be over the table with you, but we've got a problem right off the bat." And he was like, "Oh," and he was like, "Hey, everybody, calm down, calm down." So you could tell there was a big party going on at his house. So they quieted down. He goes, "Yeah, Coach, what's the problem?" I said, "Well, you see, I'm a Plum Mustang, and you're a Woodland Hills Wolverine." And he started laughing. And I said, "Well, we'll have to figure it out." Again, another just awesome guy.
Yeah.
So in coaching Larry, you could just see right away he's just so naturally gifted.
Most definitely.
But on top of that, no one works harder at getting the most out of his ability. He wants to take advantage of every opportunity, every situation. He's the first one on the practice field, last one to leave. He's very generous, very unselfish, pushes himself, pushes all those around him. Wants to win. I mean, he wants to get his numbers too, because then he feels like he's contributing.
Right. Yeah.
But the ultimate goal is to win. And I think we always said this as a coach, player has to answer three things, right? Can I trust him? Does he care about me? Can he make me better? And so I always felt if I'm answering those three questions, and if these guys are fair enough to give me a fair shake, because look, hey, these guys are smart.
Definitely.
And they look at your background too, and they see, okay, this guy's coached tight ends. He was a quality control coach, and he was a GA. He didn't play college ball, because I always tell people the truth. I tore my ACL in high school.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a nice thing to hang my hat on, but really that, along with the gross lack of talent, prevented me from playing past high school. So I really got a calling from God to ultimately get into this track, but it's a lot of sacrifice and things. But so I just felt I'm always going to be honest with him. I'm always going to know what my job is. And I'm going to set the mode as far as working hard. And,
Yep.
They giving the credit to them too, that they gave me a fair shake, and it was special that way. And I think too, funny things might be, again, you can get close with people real fast. And there was one, there's a million of them I could tell you, but
I'm sure. Yeah.
he said, so one time he's always petitioning to do more, right? And so we had a double pass in a game on a Sunday night game at the Giants in '09. And Larry can throw. Like they said, he
Yeah.
threw his first pass, right, a year ago. Well, we tried to do that. I couldn't get it in the offense. And then when I was a coordinator, we just had other issues. So, but he throws a pass. Or no, we had a double pass. And we threw the double pass to him. And he just got crossed up on. It's very uncharacteristic, like for him. And it wound up bouncing the ball around. And anyway, he dropped it. And he came to the sideline on the phone. And he's like, Mike, I look so stank on that, Mike. I said, don't you ever complain to me again about getting a specialty pass. Never again. And he was laughing. I mean, listen, that guy, one thing I wish I would have done is the catches he made in practice. And I tell kids this all the time. Larry didn't make one-handed catches when he could use two hands.
Exactly.
He said,
Yeah.
my business is catching footballs. Mine's not to be putting out highlight reels like this, because if I drop a ball, that means I might have killed our drive. And if I kill our drive, then we might lose a game.
For sure.
Now, he would make one-handed catches that are unlike any, like that catch the kid for the Steelers made this year.
George Pickens, yeah.
Yeah, or who's the guy that was for the Rams last year? Beckham.
Yeah.
He was with the Giants. Larry made catches like that all the time in practice, but it wasn't on purpose. Like it was on purpose, but I mean, somebody was holding his arm. The ball was going a certain way where he turned his body, and the only way he could possibly get a hand on it was one. He made those all the time. So, and the other thing that he doesn't get credit for is I think Larry is the best all time catching the ball on the move.
Yep.
Yeah.
His ball skills when in motion are unparalleled. And he is, I'm telling you talk about a big, strong guy.
Yeah. I mean, you think I think it was 2014. You were gone by then, but 2014 against Green Bay in the playoffs, in overtime, he caught a slant and took it like 65 yards or something like that. And then Palmer shovel passed it to him on the next play and he scored. And it was just crazy. It was like the first drive.
Yeah. He's so versatile. Yeah, he's amazing. I just, you'd be here all day talking about it. But there are just so many fun little comments he'd make and things as I was installing the offense or come out over in the huddle and say something. I mean, he's got a great sense of humor too. So he's just the best. He really is.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I remember the first time when you took us to go meet him, which obviously I was 2011. I was probably like what 7, 8 or whatever.
Yeah, at the Little League baseball field.
Yeah. I remember my dad woke me up. He's like, "Come on, let's go." And I was like, "Where are we going?" So then we go, and I remember, like, obviously, I'm sure my dad knew where you were taking us. He did, like, I just remember, like, you just weren't saying anything, which obviously I know why, because it was surprise us, because, and I remember when we got there, I was like, why are we at a Little League game? I was like, why are we here? And then
it was real early. It was like early Saturday morning or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I was tired. I was just like, I was wiping my eyes, just walking up, just like whatever. And then next thing you know, I hear your voice going, "Guys, I want you to meet Mr. Larry Fitzgerald." And immediately I went, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. He's such, that's him. He was there for his son's baseball game, and you guys were dealing with a lot at the time. And I told him you were coming out, and he said he wanted to meet you guys, just kind of console you a little bit. And, he's just that guy. He's just just a giving person. He's extremely generous. He's very compassionate. Yeah, he's just a wonderful person, and all the accolades of the player that he is, but he does so much for charity, and um, yeah, he's just amazing. That's all I can really say. He's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So the next thing I want to discuss is your time at Edinburgh. So on your bio, it says that the offense led the country with a 80% completion percentage and set a single season reception record. So what can you tell us about your time at as a Fighting Scot?
Yeah, so I was really lucky to have Cody Harris. He was in his fifth year, I think. He may have had an exemption year for an injury. Maybe it was his sixth year, but his older brother is the starter for the Montreal Alouettes in the Canadian League. Trevor, he was also an Edinburgh grad. Um, Cody would have done really well in the CFL. He's a little shorter, tough, can move around, extend plays, great arm, great vision, super smart, great leader. So I was really lucky to have had that guy, first of all. And then we had Anthony Williams, who's there now. Anthony was a true freshman. And then I think he just had some personal things going on. He had to leave school for a little bit, but I know he's back now. Another great guy, hard worker, tough kid, really good back. So offensively, we did have some weapons, and then we had Darren Massey, who we set that record with on the reception record, and we also had Jake Sisson, who was a true freshman then. Jake went on to do really well for Edinburgh. In fact, we were teasing Jake because he had to play against Slippery Rock. I think it was close for much of the game, but we said, Jake, if you screw up this completion percentage record that we got going on right now, we're going to kill you. So yeah, he laughed, and Cody was like, "We're not joking." So, but and it's 80%. When someone asked me for that number for that bio, and I couldn't find it in any. I just remember that was the number that they had printed up on a press release back then. So I wasn't able to. Whenever people were doing that wiki bio, and but that's where that came from. We did a lot of RPOs, but I simply just had good players. I had Cody Harris, and we had some really good receivers that could help out down the field.
Yeah. So my next question, and obviously, I gotta know because as you know, I am a ginormous wrestling fan. So I think you know where this is going.
I do
So
not. Go ahead.
So with your stint with the XFL, and I'm not just saying like just Vince, any McMahon, did you have any run-ins with either Vince, Stephanie, Shane?
Oh, Shane, several times.
So
In fact, I got a picture on my phone. He and I in midfield in St. Louis.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, because he
cool.
lived in Manhattan, and we were the New York team. We played in the Meadowlands, or whatever they call that stadium now. But yeah, really nice guy. I'll tell you what, he's a big dude too. He's a big guy. Great talk. I actually pitched the story.
I think you've told me the story before.
Yeah, I pitched the story. I thought it had a chance too if they kind of touched it up a little bit. I wanted what do you call that with the case?
Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
And I said that there would be a way, like say whoever was going for the match, right, for the case, right, Money in the Bank, and have it where they both kind of clock each other or hit each other and they both get knocked out, right? Mm-hmm. I said at that moment, have Charlotte come out from backstage, go running down, slide in, and pin the guy, so that she gets the case, right?
Right. I've heard this a few times.
No. That's how she would pin the guy she would get the case.
Yeah, get the case.
And then they'd have a championship match where Ric Flair would distract the guy somehow. They'd hit him with the case, throw the case away, pin him, and she actually holds both belts.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, she can't defend it against the guy. So then you have like a wrestle off, and Ric Flair would be the guy pitting the wrestlers to go for the championship. But he didn't go for it, but I tried.
That's right. That's funny. And thinking about the football and wrestling, it's kind of funny because obviously the XFL, Vince McMahon's of that, and of course you got the Jags, AEW with the Cons,
Yes.
promoting that too.
Yep.
The company I watch too, and yeah, so that's pretty funny how that works out. But
Yeah, they're crossing over.
yeah. I mean, obviously you can't. There's a head start there you can't really compete with, but it's fine.
Yeah,
It's
they're carving out a little niche, right?
yeah, and it's just like with the XFL and the NFL, because Vince was trying to do whatever with the XFL. Obviously, there was that huge gap, and like you just couldn't compete. So that's how the way I look at it too, for now, at least for now, because the head start. But yeah, they're doing well. They're doing well, and so Alex, you got another question you want to ask?
Yeah, so as we've been going, it's been pretty apparent that you've been on some staffs that have seen some pretty impressive offensive success. Obviously, you talked about the Cardinals and being one of very few teams to have a 1,000 receiving yard trio. Then Edinburgh 2014, you had the 80% completion percentage, which led the country and is a record. And then this past year, you guys won the Grey Cup, and your quarterback led the entire CFL in passing yards. So, what was it like? I mean, obviously, you want to, in the NFL, everyone knows winning a Super Bowl, or in college winning a national championship, but not as many people, I feel like, know about the CFL. So, what was it like winning a championship with the CFL?
Yeah, very surreal, Alex, is the first thing that comes to mind.
I bet, yeah.
Just so thankful. Thank God that had the chance for this journey and that experience to win the championship. I have never won. I've won conferences. I've actually was an intern for one and coached another Super Bowl and lost both of those. So to finally break through and to win that game in the fashion that we won it, Mac, our starter, got hurt in the fourth quarter, so Chad Kelly had to come in, and we were losing at the time and led us on 2 winning drives, and then 2 field goals were blocked back to back.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. So just so excited to break through and win that, and again, very surreal to feel like, wow, we did it. We actually did it. So all off season for the last month since the game, you sit there and go, man, I can't. Wow, we're the champs. And you can't. So it's a great feeling of achievement that we were able to get through and all the ups and downs. Coaching Mac, again, very similar to coaching Kurt Warner. And I told him that it's in their preparation. It's very detailed. His vision, his anticipation. He's a tough competitor, great communicator, an effective leader, great situational football. He had been with, I think, like 7 NFL teams, either a practice squad or a third string. And it's just the way it goes. I mean, but he's just continues to move forward, show back up. And I actually learned a lot from him too, getting back up and understanding the Canadian game and some of the nuances that go into execution.
Yeah.
And we had a great room. The same way, I like to always have a lot of communication. And definitely got better as the season went along. And yeah, he deserves it. The guy worked so hard, but to lead the league, I was excited for him. I felt bad that he wasn't able to finish the Grey Cup game, but very proud of Chad. And so was he. He's a great teammate. And Chad was always happy for his success. But when Chad had a chance to go in and show that what he could do, he was able to do it on the highest stage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just really proud of our whole quarterback room. And Coach Dinwiddie does a great job. He's our offensive coordinator also. And we call him RD. His name's Ryan Dinwiddie, so we call him RD. And yeah, it was great. It just blessed to be a part of it.
So, like you touched on it briefly, about the nuances and stuff like that of coaching Canadian football. Was there any like major differences shifting from traditional American football, the NFL, college, and then switching to CFL football?
Yeah. So aside from the field's 110 yards long.
Oh, yeah,
it's
that's
65 yards wide, not 53. Our end zones are 20 yards deep, not 10, and the goalpost is at the goal line.
Yeah.
We only have 3 downs. We play with 12 players. The waggle motion, that's when they can run at the line of scrimmage, or we got guys moving everywhere. So for an offensive guy, it's very creative. You can use your imagination. and that's a lot of fun. It's a
I
lot of
bet.
fun.
Yeah.
But there are things about the league that, like the scoring is unique. In some cases, you can earn a 1 point if you miss a field goal and it goes out of the end zone.
Oh,
There'll be
interesting.
many times during the season I'd look up at the scoreboard and go, how the hell do we
It's
have
not a
5
football
points?
score. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say, where the hell did we get 2 points from? So I still don't completely understand all of that. I just know we're trying to score touchdowns. So, but yeah, it's fun. There are some nuances, but I will say this: if you're a fan of the game, the football is great. I mean, everything's relative, and the only having 3 downs, it forces there to be a lot of possession changes.
Yeah.
So teams are always in it, and it is. I'm telling you, these games are exciting. So I get why a traditional football fan in the United States looks at it and says, these guys are running everywhere. They're 12 guys. There's only 3 downs. And yeah, you can say that and people make fun of it. But if you really sat down and gave it a chance, like I'm all in. I really enjoy it. And it's
Absolutely.
fun. If you guys get a chance, you watch a game for its merit for watching football. I promise you, by the end of that game, you're going to think, wow, man, this team had a chance. And it's exciting.
So bouncing off of that, actually, was there like any culture shock or anything like that, or is it it's pretty similar kind of thing? Everyone kind of treated the same way.
Yeah, for the most part, it's still players, coaches. You're still playing the game. Moving up to Canada, that type of culture shock, not so much. I mean, it's very similar to
Yeah.
the United States. It's a beautiful country. I was blown away by Vancouver, Halifax, Ottawa, Calgary. Toronto is great. I would highly recommend if you get a chance, get your passport and get up there because it
Yeah.
really is
Sure.
a beautiful country.
All right, and then final question for me, just kind of a typical question. If someone, were just to come up to you on the street or something like that, and they wanted to be a coach and everything, and asked you what to do, what not to do, or for any advice, what would you give them?
Yeah, I think the first thing I would say is look to volunteer because you just got to try to get your foot in the door. Like I said, it's almost like an intern. If you can get a grad assistantship at a university somewhere,
Yeah.
start coaching local football. Where I was really blessed was my first coaching opportunity as a grad assistant at Robert Morris, coaching running backs, a smaller program. You actually are the position coach.
Yeah.
But uh, the foundation for me was built with Joe Walton, former head coach in the NFL with the Jets. And then again, Bad Rad, his career, he was at Penn State, started linebacker U, went to the Steelers, coached the defensive line. He became the Steel Curtain. He left,
Yeah.
went to the University of Colorado, came back, coached the offensive line, and they win Super Bowls. Franco's a Super Bowl MVP. So the guy was amazing. So you got to try to be around people that you can learn from, learn the right way.
For sure.
But no is never in your vocabulary. You're just looking for any opportunity. So that would be my advice. And just keep working as hard as possible. When I was at Robert Morris as a grad assistant, we only got room and board and tuition. So I
Yeah.
worked for FedEx from 2 till 8 in the morning, unloading planes because Robert Morris is right next to the airport.
Yep.
And then at 8:30 to 12:30, I delivered bread for
Wow.
Mancini. And then I went to the office by 2:45. We had practice till 5:30, and then I had class from 6 till 9.
Wow.
So I
Yeah.
did that for almost a year.
That's
And
crazy. That's a lot. For
yeah,
sure.
I mean that was my situation. That's what I had to do. But other guys have similar stories where you got to go all in and pray.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, you ain't been to Pittsburgh if you haven't had a slice of Mancini's bread, though. Am I right?
Oh man, they used to tell me, you don't understand. Christmas Eve and New Year's, they're gonna be wrapped around the corner. Mikey,
Absolutely.
it was 4:30 in the morning and they were stretched 2 blocks.
That sounds about right. It's
Listen, I
true.
pull up in that van and those people on, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday with the raisin bread.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my God. They were yelling at me at Giant Eagles. Hey, where the hell have you been? Oh man, it was crazy.
Definitely.
That's great. But Alex, you got any more comments before we get into the Pittsburgh and the Pirates and Steelers talk.
Hey, by the way, Moon, you're from Moon, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be a Wings, Suds, and Spuds guy.
Absolutely.
Oh
Absolutely.
my God, Mike, you never had these wings.
Mike, you're gonna have to come down with me one time. You're gonna have to come down.
Listen,
come down to
what
my.
you're doing right now and get down there.
Come down to my stomping grounds and get some wings.
Yeah, Alex, continue the show. I'll go warm up the truck right now.
But yeah, the advice is really, really cool because I have actually, being a person that wants to, get into the coaching world one day, I'm in a very similar situation. Played in high school, don't have any college playing experience, so definitely something that I think will help translate whenever I'm looking for work once I get out of school. So.
Yeah, well, like I told Mikey, I mean, you could go check right now with Edinburgh's football. I mean, I know those guys. You could break in running film. Yeah. Charting during practice, helping run drills, just being around, charting during a game.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Whatever it is, you're just looking for somehow that you can learn and a chance for you to prove that you're able to work hard and get along with people. And then you just get perspective.
Absolutely.
Go help out at high school.
Yeah.
I mean, just somewhere. And then you never know where that's going to go.
No doubt.
Yep.
Right. So, all right. So we're going to get into, first so I got one more question, but it's going to lead into our Steelers talk. So obviously, since you're the quarterback coach for the Argonauts, now, obviously, you know our family well. You know that
that your dad never could bring heat. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we love Kenny Pickett in this house. Let's just say I'm a Kenny Pickett guy.
I'm well aware of your affection for the University of Pittsburgh. Yes.
Yep. And but yeah, so since you're a Pittsburgh guy, like what have you seen from out of Kenny that you think he does well? What do you see that he can obviously improve in? Because there's always room for improvement for anybody, but like I don't know. What do you think about Kenny so far?
Well, I mean, in fairness, I really haven't had a chance to see too much because our season went till the Sunday before Thanksgiving, and I was just so busy. I got a chance to see a little bit here and there. I watched last week. I really am never comfortable unless I've had a chance to really break film down and really have an understanding what they're trying to do offensively. So anything I say, please remember, I haven't had a chance to really evaluate them. But we're on a show, so we gotta talk about it. I mean, to me, he's flashed. I mean, he has shown the ability to be accurate. He's good in situations. He shows the ability to scramble and make plays on the run. I don't know what responsibility they give him as far as being able to check protections for blitz pickup. He seems to be alert for the hot throws, which is so important, which leads that I'm always looking for guys that can show poise in the pocket. He seems to be able to do that. They don't ask him to drop back and stretch the field. I don't know if that's because of the inadequacies maybe they feel they have up front. But for any rookie to come in and win games in the NFL, that's outstanding. It's so complex. It's so hard. It's so difficult. So I haven't seen anything that makes me think he can't be the guy. But I know that development can happen at different speeds for different people. And but I don't know. That's probably where I'm comfortable saying. I did hear a local radio station in town, and that's why you got to always be careful talking the way I'm going to tell you what these guys said, because frankly, it was embarrassing. It's guys from The Fan. I want to say it's the guy on with Cook, Filipponi or whatever. These guys are.
AJ Filipponi, yeah, I follow.
So he said after one game that they won, they were comparing him. They were surmising that they believe they have a young Joe Montana on their hands. And I thought, Joe Montana, 3-time Super Bowl champion, Hall of Famer, Joe Montana. I don't know anybody in their right mind that would ever make a statement like that. Now, they might be doing it for shock and awe, trying to get ratings, but
Right.
Just don't ever say embarrassing things like that, because you show that you're just a fan.
Right.
And really, he should just resign. That's embarrassing to ever make a comment like that.
Mikey, you and I were talking about this on Tailgate Talks today. We talk about how we want Jordan Addison and Kenny Pickett to potentially have that same kind of chemistry as Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow do right now, but by no means do we mean that they are Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. That's the bad thing about pro sports in general nowadays, is it's become a league of comparisons.
Oh, that's a great point.
Everyone wants to compare everybody to somebody. People want to compare Patrick Mahomes to Brady, Joe Burrow to Brady, everybody to Tom Brady. And
I
these guys
learned
aren't allowed to
from
be
one of the
themselves.
best. Coach Cowher always said, avoid comparisons.
Yeah, it's really the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, you can't, because every situation's different. Every players know where they're at, and their development's different. So, and the emphasis of what that head coach or their offense is trying to achieve is different. He's, I think he's got a chance. But I see some rookie things that are typical. I mean, people want this microwave society of having these great results. Like now I'm hearing about this Purdy kid at
San Francisco.
Yeah. I mean, is he, they're talking about it on the radio. Is he further along than Pickett? Is he a better than Pickett? Listen, he may be putting some games together now. And listen, he may be a great quarterback.
He could be.
I have nothing against him either, but that doesn't mean that Pickett ultimately might not be. I mean, it's just, you don't know. We're not in the room. We don't know
exactly
what they're doing, what they're coaching, what they're asking these guys to do, what the problems are in the Steelers offense compared to San Francisco's. I mean, it sure helps. It sure helps if you're Purdy playing with the #1 defense in football.
And a really good offensive line.
Yeah. Well, it sure helps.
Tight end.
And it seems like they've got a kid that they've always thought could be a Hall of Fame running back is finally staying healthy.
Yeah.
So, all those things really help.
For sure.
Yeah. And more about the Steelers, obviously. Well, the way I look at it with Kenny, and like when people get like criticizing, it's because the Steelers, with Tomlin never having a losing season, they think, oh, they're going to go to the Super Bowl. Oh, they're going to do this. And when you think about it, it's like, I don't know. I never thought Kenny was going to take the Steelers to the Super Bowl, like as a young rookie quarterback going into the NFL. And yeah, I agree. I mean, comparisons is just because because then of course Kenny gets compared to Ben and everything. Like,
how unfair is that
situation?
Yeah, so I definitely agree on that with the comparisons. And
I mean, Ben Roethlisberger is as special a quarterback that, I mean, now there's a guy, if you want to compare him to, he's in the conversation of the best. I mean, since his first year playing, he played in the second half of the first game or second quarter of the first game ever in 2004 in Baltimore.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy, what he was able to achieve, he's amazing. And that guy, what he did was amazing. He gave the Steelers a chance to win every time he suited up. And, hey, they had some real unfortunate things happen in the playoffs. But every year they were there. And so there's another guy. I mean, you may never see another Ben Roethlisberger. And that guy,
honestly,
but he won 2. He played in 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
And how many championship games did he play in? Another 2 or 3?
Probably somewhere around there.
Something like that. So, but as soon as you hear a little boo or the people aren't carrying Pickett around on their shoulders, I know it cuts you, Mike.
Yeah. No, I don't.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, to me, I mean, obviously, okay, Kenny, he's not perfect. All right, I'm gonna admit that right now. And it's just the team this year. You got Matt Canada, which we've talked about on a lot, and a lot of people have talked on separate shows a lot.
You guys are not fans? Is that what I'm to understand?
No, we have both aired our grievances about the system, the way it's run.
Okay.
Yeah. But I definitely think it's going to be interesting to see in 2023 and on, because Kenny definitely has, like, he's got good targets, and like if they can somehow get Jordan Addison, like, just think about it. On the offense, you got Kenny, Najee, Pickens. I don't think Johnson's going to be on the team, like, in the future.
Well, don't they give him a 2-year deal?
I think so. I think he'll be
Something
here.
short, yeah.
He'll be there next. He'll be there next year, but he's not a. 3 years from now, I don't think he'll be a Steeler.
Okay.
So yeah, so Pickens, maybe Addison, and then maybe that Calvin Austin who got hurt, like, and then of course Freiermuth as well.
Freiermuth, yeah.
They definitely got good targets that could be explosive in the future. I would think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure.
So there's that. So all right. So I don't know how much you've been paying attention to the Penguins. I mean, I've had a lot of.
I just went to last night's game.
Oh, you did? Oh. Ooh.
Yep.
I didn't watch it because I was coming home from work, but yeah, yikes.
I'm a big fan. I watch almost every game.
Yeah.
Was it 3-0? 3-0 at first? They were up 4-0. Oh.
Man.
They were up 4-2 with less than 5 minutes left in the game.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
So I heard Paul Steigerwald today on the Fan. And again, I interned in 93, and I actually was very disappointed in hearing Paul Steigerwald's comments. Thought they were way off. In fact, I'm still shocked to hearing what his opinion was. He felt that the Penguins got a little full of themselves for last night's game.
Huh.
Like, what's he talking about?
What?
He said they actually weren't playing very well even when they were up 4-0. And I thought, I don't know. I don't get that at all. But here's what I have observed and what I have observed for the last few years. And it was, we were talking, my cousin Tom went with me to the game last night. There's something about, and I love Mike Sullivan. And again, I'm going to do something here. I don't know hockey. I'm just a fan. It's fun to just be a fan. In fact,
Absolutely.
I thought last night, I'm sure glad I'm not coaching. And I'd have to go in there and talk to this team after blowing that game last night. So it was nice to be able to just get in my car and go home. But something happens when we get a 2-goal lead. We call the dogs off, and we play this defensive-minded game where we put our goalie in a shooting gallery. And our offense, we don't press the offensive zone. I understand he doesn't want any odd man situations. But what you managed to do was you took all the air out of the arena. The crowd went to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And when you turn it off, and we this is a fear as offensive coach in a game. Mm-hmm. When you turn down that tempo, they go to sleep.
Right.
So now what happens is second period was brutal. I think they outshot us by 8. And then the third period was even worse. And so now we blow that lead. And then what happens? Boom, we had like 4 shots in a row on them. And we didn't get it in. Then we went to overtime. But it's hard to restart the engine.
It is.
You got to remember, these are pros. These are best of the best. So I don't understand. I never hear us ever have it explained why we change our mode of execution. Why do we change our mindset in the games when we're up?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
But we continue to do, and I know Coach Solly talks about, and I want to say 200-foot player, 200 feet. In other words, he wants to play, and again, I'm not a hockey guy, but he wants guys playing both ends. I get that. But there's a reason why we went up 4-0. And then there's also a reason why we didn't score any more goals the rest of the game.
Right.
Something's changing. We're changing some emphasis in the game, and that I believe that has to stop. Keep going. Keep attacking.
It's actually funny you say that. My sophomore year of high school, we were playing Baldwin in football, and we were leading 42-22, I want to say, in the third quarter. And we ended up losing that game in overtime, 48-42. And it was a home game, and it was just the kid threw a touchdown straight over the middle of the
It's a
field, and
heartbreaker.
you just
Yeah.
felt all the emotion drained from the stadium. And the next year we went back there. We went to their house that time, and we were up at halftime 27-7, and our starters did not come out of the game for a single play that entire game.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't matter. We were leading by 3 scores at halftime. We got right back out there and just kept stepping on their throats the rest of the game. We didn't, I mean, we were winning 41-13 with like probably 8 minutes left in the game, and still no starters came out of that game. We kept our foot on their throat the whole game.
Yeah, it's tough. It really is. It's tough to watch.
It is.
Hopefully they can get that correct, because I think the world of Sully, I just again, I don't understand why we change our mindset.
Yeah.
Or our emphasis, I should say.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just hope that Crosby, Malkin, and Letang can just win one more cup together.
That would be great.
Well, I think that's what the organization's hoping too, right?
Yeah.
I think this Raquel is fantastic. I think he was an excellent trade. I'm a big Gensel guy. Obviously Sid's the guy, but there are times with Malkin on that second line kind of frustrates me a little bit. Rust, I'm not sure where he is right now.
Me either,
Had
actually.
a good night last night, but he's kind of sliding a little bit.
Mhm.
The other guy I'm a real big fan of is I call him the Blug. Bluger is just
Oh yeah, Teddy Bluger.
he's
Yeah.
all hustle. I mean, now he's on they're one of the top penalty kills. Opportunistic type of player. I still would like to see us get an enforcer.
Yeah.
I don't know that we have that guy, and I still think there's a place for that guy, provided that he can at least provide you some ability on a fourth line.
Yeah.
I think our goalies are good. I don't think they're great. I think they're good. But if our defense plays the way I think poor Dumo, I don't know what's going on. Maybe they're right when they say you don't know if he's ever really recovered from the surgery, but
That's tough.
We've got some real issues happening there, but I think more of it's just that emphasis. Keep your foot on the gas. Let's go.
Yeah.
If we got to win 9-7, we win 9-7. So what?
Yep. Absolutely. Well, for our last topic we talk about, and oh boy, the Pittsburgh Pirates.
I love that banner on your door behind you too, by the way.
Oh yeah, yep. The
nice.
different logos, minus of course the one they got now. But I mean, we know the number one problem. It's everybody knows it's
ownership.
Yep.
It's ownership.
And
well, let me ask you guys a question. You guys asked me a bunch of questions.
Okay.
So how old are you guys?
19.
19. Yeah.
Yeah, you're 19. So how much? So you remember when we were good in what was that 16, 15?
13, 14, 15, yeah.
Okay, 13. How much do you guys were, you were
like 10-ish.
9, 10 years old, right? You remember
that,
right? Okay. So before that, you have to go back to 92, 91, 90. And then before that, 70. The 70s, the Pirates did well.
Yeah, 79 was the last World Series.
Yeah, they won the 71. They played in 3 other NLCSs. How hard is it for you guys to be young Pirate fans and know that each year you really don't have a chance?
It's frustrating. It really is.
Yeah, it's definitely frustrating. Even though I'm not the biggest baseball fan on the planet, I don't watch a lot, but knowing that we're from such a historic city that has had so much success, and you go back to the 70s, the Steelers and the Pirates at the same time, fall, you got the Steelers winning rings, and then spring comes around, you got the Pirates that are at least, like you said, going to multiple NLCSs and stuff like that. So it's definitely, even being a Steeler fan, it's like, okay, yeah, Tomlin's never had a losing season the entire time he's been here, but we haven't even been to a Super Bowl since 2008, whatever. So, and I don't even remember it that well. So definitely different, seeing my parents, seeing my grandparents, seeing everyone, especially being, in the thick of the city and stuff, like right outside the city.
Sure.
You
Yeah,
know, all
sure.
my family's from we were talking about Mancini's. All my family is from McKees Rocks, so
Oh,
they're
yeah.
real close to the city. So
Yeah, yeah.
that culture is really ingrained in my family. So it's definitely sad
Yeah.
to know that there isn't the same success that there used to be.
Yeah, and looking at the future, it's like I do think baseball overall is broken. Looking at the contracts some people are getting,
Agreed. Yeah, I agree, Mikey.
but like here's the thing: if good players are getting 100 mil, like Aaron Judge, Correa, who the physical thing, he hasn't even been signed to a team yet, but like those kind of players, like if that's how the culture is going to change for signing people, and you don't want to pay for that, you're going to have no chance at all. Because in PNC, like, trust me, just imagining a World Series game at PNC Park. In my opinion, PNC Park's the best ballpark in the world.
It's really nice. It's
I
gorgeous.
mean, it's definitely up there. We could all agree it's definitely up there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the fact that they just don't want to try, and that kind of leads to the next part. And of course, I've ranted about this on the show. Well, forced to rant because Alex dragged me back. Brian Reynolds, like, come on, like now. I mean, okay, he's got 3 years of control left, so he does not have to be traded right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. He's your best. He's your best. Okay, let me say this: overall hitter the entire year, like in the entire years he has been up. In 2019, who was the best hitter, or up there at least, on the entire Pirates?
I can't even remember 2019.
It was Reynolds. 2020 was it was a down year, but that was 60 games. So
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Yeah, and then if you want, of course, people will argue, well, he could have continued to go down the bad path, but like he had a slow start in 2022 and he rebounded like in June. 2021, he was the best hitter on the Pirates, hands down. Before they got rid of Frazier, it was Adam Frazier, but Reynolds was still the best hitter in my opinion. So I don't. You
So
want?
here,
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
What I was gonna say is, you want to say you're trying, but coming like these reports coming out of Reynolds wanting out, and then the pay stuff, and looking at the payroll numbers, it's just everything. It's a big lie. You know they don't want to try, so it's like, what's the point of having a baseball team? Because you know the only reason why Nutting wants to have the title owner of the Pittsburgh Pirates is the only thing he cares about.
Well, no, I wouldn't agree with that. The only thing he cares about is this.
Yeah.
You got to remember something. This is business, right? And so it's easy for us as fans, because as a coach, I have feet on both sides of the fence. But what you can't lose sight of, which it's very easy to, don't get me wrong, because this is emotional, right? We're fans, we get emotional.
Right.
But this is business. First and foremost, he's in business to make money.
Right.
All right. So if there's ever going to be change, he has to what? Lose money. So if he's not making the money, then he has a businessman has to reassess their business plan and say, okay, what do we have to do to make money again? Well, if fans aren't going to the games, he's going to lose money. Right. So if he's losing money, right, he's losing revenue. And if that revenue goes way down, he's got to either sell the team or he's got to change his business plan. Right. But right now, everybody still goes to the games. Why? Right. Because they enjoy it. It's fun. It's a great park. You're making memories. It's a great thing to do in the summer. And it's not, and financially, it really doesn't kill you, right? I mean, you could go to a game relatively cheaper than other sporting events, especially Steelers and Penguins, and you can go sit up in the upper deck. You can have a nice tailgate out in the sun in good weather and enjoy good times. That's what people still want to do. Now, he's still making that money. So he doesn't have to change, people stop going to the games, there are going to be problems. Now, that's not point number one. Point number two, that I think sometimes gets overlooked because they want to say, well, they don't want to spend money, which is true. That doesn't have anything to do with their failure as talent evaluators.
I agree.
Right? They have missed on so many players, drafts, and trades that have really set this team back. Now, it's Charrington, right?
Matt Charrington.
Okay, so the jury's still out on him. I don't know ultimately what he's going to do. He's made some moves already that, as a fan, again, I'll say as a fan, are disappointing.
Yeah.
However, I got to wait and see. I can't just be a knee-jerk person. I got to try to be logical and wait and see. But one thing I just told you, I was texting your dad about, Mikey, that bothered me was, or did I send this to you also? Is it Behringer?
Bellinger. Yep.
Okay, so I believe he signed for $17 million with the Cubs for a 1-year deal. Is that correct?
I believe so.
I think it's Chicago Cubs. So $17 million for 1 year for what? Former NL MVP?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Around that range. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I'm like, we couldn't have got a little creative? Gave this guy a little more for a 2-year deal? Or whatever that could be, or maybe give him more incentives to get him for 1 year. Because now, if you bring that guy in, he can have a chance to rub off on your young kids because we're young. Yeah. These guys need shown a way how to compete and play and be pros. It's not about all the fun and the dancing and the fundamental mistakes that are so frustrating as we watch this team, right? But if you get that guy, now maybe say he is playing better. Well, now you got a chance to trade a guy that can really bring in something. And this is a superstar who is down right now. So we could take a little gamble. Like that's where we are. So the other part to that for me is Reynolds included. I know this is going to hurt your feelings.
I know what you're going to say.
All right. And we texted about this.
Yep. Is
he a superstar? Is he the cornerstone that you're going to win World Series and build a dynasty on? No, he's not.
No.
Cruz could be.
Cruz
could be that guy.
Cruz is definitely going to be he'll definitely be a star, but like
he's special, right? We can agree that guy has a chance to be really phenomenally special, right?
Yeah, but another thing.
So my point then, everybody else I could trade. I don't want to, but if they're going to help me maybe collect another superstar like a Cruz or a pitcher as a superstar nature, then I'm going to do that. It's going to hurt.
Right.
But you don't get wrapped up in, like, would you trade Hayes? Is Hayes the foundation? What did he bat?
I definitely think he is not. He did not play like the way.
Yeah, the answer is no. Yes, the answer is no. No,
I was just trying to find. Yeah, I was trying to find the words.
I mean, listen, I'm watching spring training last year. I mean, obviously the Pirates told their broadcast group, "You better compliment this Hayes guy," and every one of them said he's the greatest defensive third baseman they'd ever seen. Ever seen?
Yeah.
You realize the company you're putting that in? Have you ever seen Brooks Robinson? Did you ever see Mike Schmidt? Cal Ripken? I mean, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying he's not good, but easy with the greatest.
Yeah. Well, I definitely agree with to the point with the Reynolds argument, but to be fair, he's not on a team that's gonna win 96 games and then go to the postseason. And
no question, and I don't want to trade him. But
yeah. If
right. Someone really knocks my socks off with a deal.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now, what I don't trust to this point is our administration's ability to evaluate these prospects.
Right.
So if you're going to make those trades, we have to get something that's going to help us. Like, I really do believe, who was our GM before this guy? Huntington?
Yep.
I'm telling you, Mikey, I promise you, that deal with Archer was so bad it had to be on purpose. I think he was tired of dealing with having his hands cuffed, right? And he said, I'm going to get fired anyway. I'm going to set this team back as far as possible.
Ooh.
There is no way you would trade Meadows.
Nope.
Who's the lefty fireballer?
Lefty. I don't know.
Starter hurt his elbow.
Glasnow?
California.
Tyler Glasnow or Shane Boss?
Yeah, Glasnow. And then the other guy, who? Baz?
Yeah, Shane Boss, yeah.
Who's a #1 draft pick.
Yep.
We traded all that for Chris Archer.
Yep.
Get the heck out of here. You wouldn't do that. You would never do that.
God, it's still the worst trade I've seen since I've been
That's what I'm saying. There's no way. There's no way that wasn't on purpose.
It definitely is. But I don't know. I mean, just looking at the Reynolds situation too, it kind of seems like, because, like, let's be real, the Pirates, they never make this many. The moves they made this offseason, it's probably like the most moves they've probably made since, like, 2015, when they were trying to compete.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. Yeah.
I just don't believe they're trying to compete in 2023. I think there's something up there. I feel like, because they know when the report comes out saying, oh, Reynolds wants to trade, money's an issue. So then they spend a little money to make themselves try to make Reynolds look like the bad guy. I think there's something up there.
I don't know if that's necessarily why they're doing it, but I agree with you that could be a benefit, a side benefit that, hey, look, I don't know what we're talking. We're making these moves. We're trying.
Yeah.
Because you're right. I do think some of this, go back to the business plan. He's got to make money.
Right.
So his fan base, he's got to be able to show, hey, well, we're trying. We're doing something.
Right.
When really, are they?
No.
Are they?
Giving $8 million to a 43-year-old Rich Hill. And yeah, I mean, I do like the G-Man Troy move, and I do like the Carlos Santana move, but they're just trying to make themselves look like the good guys here, when in reality, everybody knows they're not. Like, it's just funny to see how the fan base, the players, are all behind Reynolds, and it's the Pirates are trying to make Reynolds the bad guy. That's just my stance on that.
Well, I don't know if I can go with you on. I don't know if they're trying to make him the bad guy. They're just going to try to continue to have answers for the fan base, and however people take that is how people take it. Because I don't think as a team you want to get into the business of trying to make players on your roster look like bad guys.
Yeah, I mean, I may have said that kind of.
No, I hear what you're saying. But
yeah. But yeah. So, well, we know there's going to be a lot more pain to come as a Pirates fan. Maybe not so much.
It's our cross to bear, buddy. It's just our cross to bear.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
But yeah. So I want to thank you, Mike, for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
And yeah, this was fun. I think we may have lost Alex there for a second, but oh no, we're good.
That was weird. Sorry about that.
Well, I've had a chance to, you put those links up of your other podcasts that you guys have had,
yeah,
or the things that you do up at school. Do you guys do that in the studio, or?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I've had a chance, and I really think you guys do a great job. I did the same in college. We didn't have the ability for this technology to do these podcasts. We did in studio things. So, hey, I would just say to you guys, whatever your dream is, just keep working as hard as you can for it. And life will ultimately dictate how long you can strive for that dream.
For sure.
Be ready to sacrifice and do everything that you can. And someday, maybe ultimately, you don't maybe you will, maybe you won't realize ultimately. But I believe that God will have a way of, on your journey, steering you towards ultimately where another place that you haven't even thought of yet, of where you might want to take your life and your career. And so just be open to things, have your eyes up. We always say, have your head on a swivel.
Yep.
But show people that you can work hard and you can get along with people. And again, pray that God meets you halfway with opportunity down the road. But I think what you guys do, I think you guys do a great job. And you can tell you enjoy each other's company.
Yeah,
you enjoy debating. And laughing and having a good time. That's what life's all about. So,
For sure.
Yeah.
a pleasure. I appreciate you asking me to be on board. And with anytime you ever want me back, just let me know. Would jump back and debate any topic with you. It'd be fun.
Sweet. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
And Alex and we've discussed this. We even when we graduate, we plan on keeping the show going. Like
Yeah,
even
for sure.
his channel.
Yeah.
As he whatever coaching job he lands up with, and certain company hopefully I end up with, and then we also have with his vlog doing the court trial
That
vlog,
was really fun. Yeah.
Nice.
a horror film coming up. We're gonna film in January. It's gonna be fun. We're just having fun with
Enjoy.
everything. Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right.
All right. Well, hey, happy New Year, boys. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Happy New Year to you too.
Yep. And everybody watching, we will see you guys next week.